How's it going everyone, this is Pedantic Gamer, and in this video I'm going to be going through some basic control tips for Resident Evil 6. The reason for this is the game does an exceptionally poor job at showing one how to play, which leaves many new simply running around up to enemies and trying to melee them and nothing else to rather poor effect. This video is more for those new to the game or struggling with controls, as opposed to more seasoned players, and by no means will I cover everything, but I feel like this should cover the basics and what most seem to be unaware of. My first recommendation isn't related directly to controls per se, but does greatly affect your awareness and therefore your ability to use the available controls to counter enemies and so on. At the main menu, go to the options and then camera. Note that this cannot be done in-game and must be done from the main menu though. So once you've gone to options and then camera, go down to other, and whilst this will take some trial and error, you'll want to change your FOV, most likely. What this essentially will do is the larger the FOV, the more you'll be able to see, therefore decreasing the FOV zooms in the image and vice versa. I personally like the maximum setting with everything set at 15, but this will vary from person to person and the relative screen size one has will also change this. Next up is another recommendation for changing the default keybinds to something more comfortable and useful. It is also a minor change, but one that I feel makes a rather large difference. Go back to the options screen and then to the keyboard bindings option. Here scroll down to next item and change the default key to 3, then scroll further down to roll forward shortcut and change this to shift. The reason for which will become more apparent in the following demonstration. Now my recommendation for trying out the controls and how they work will be by loading up a mercenary mode, preferably in single player, and just playing around. But now for the explanation. To change between equipment such as grenades with the new controls, hold down 3 and then use the mouse scroll. To simply change weapons, just use the mouse scroll without holding down 3. Personally, I do like this control scheme that may at first seem clunky. The reason being is for once the keyboard simply doesn't have enough keys. They could have given you the option to bind weapons to the number keys and the F1 and F2 keys linked to such things as grenades, but then the skill selection would be left alone and that would be kind of problematic as well. So I do feel this is a good option despite feeling a little clunky at first. Now with several weapons there is the ability to change firing mode when you aim. To do so you simply press E whilst aiming. Now just remember there are several different firing modes for different weapons, but not all. For example with Leon it'll have him pull out a second pistol as opposed to just one, which essentially doubles the amount of damage he can do in a given time frame. Next up are the health tablets. 1 green herb alone will make 1 health tablet, 2 green herbs will make 3 health tablets, and 1 green herb and 1 red herb will make 6 health tablets. To make health tablets you can press E, which should automatically select a green health tablet if you have one, followed by space, which will then select what to combine it with. The game once again will automatically select the best option, so if you only have another green herb it will select that, if you have a red herb it will select that. So you simply press space again, which will then combine the 2 herbs and place them as a health tablet in your inventory. Of course if you only have one, pressing space will immediately put it into your inventory as a health tablet. Now, to use this you simply press 1, which will regenerate 1 health cube at a time. Now, you can increase this with certain skills, but by default 1 health tablet will increase 1 health cube. Now, by pressing 1 multiple times you will consume several health tablets. So if you press 1 3 times you'll consume 3 health tablets, presuming that you have that number of health tablets that you can use. Next up is the biggest issue I see constantly, and the reason I suggest changing the keyboard binds, as shown earlier in this video. To roll forward with the new keyboard binds, simply press shift. Now if you want to stay on the ground, you must continue holding shift down. If you just tap it, your character will get back up as soon as he or she finishes rolling. To move once on the ground, simply continue holding down shift, and to scurry backwards press S, to roll to the left press A, and to roll to the right press D. Of course to scurry forward you can also press W. Note once again, at any time if you let go of shift your character will stand back up. To dive left, press Z, to jump backwards press X, or to jump right press C. Once again, one must hold down Shift if they do not want their character to get back up as soon as they finish performing this action. To perform a slide while sprinting, either press Shift or the right mouse button. When sliding, to remain on the ground once again, continue holding down Shift. To flip around and face the direction of where you were running away from when sliding, press S when sliding. Once again, if you want to remain on the ground, one must continue holding down Shift. Of course, if you want to stand up immediately, simply do not hold down Shift. Now, to quickly jump around enemies and aim at their backs, which can be useful against, for example, the firemen to shoot the explosives essentially on their back, just press Shift, continue holding it down, and hold down S. This will quickly flip you behind them and aim you directly at their back. Now, one basic mistake I see people make many times in Mercenaries is simply running around up to enemies and trying meleeing them to death. Melee is a very effective tool, but it really should not be used alone. Either use a quick shot by pressing both aim and fire at the same time to shoot them in such a way that puts them off balance, or simply shoot them in such a way that puts them off balance. If done right, when you approach them, you should get a prompt to press the left mouse button to attack with a melee that will usually instantly kill the enemy, or at least knock them to the ground, making them a very easy target. Lastly, when most enemies attack you, you have the ability to counter their attack, which nearly always instant melee kills them. Just before their strike hits you, you should see a prompt to hit the left mouse button, much like you would in the above example. If you time this rate, you can take out numerous enemies with ease that would otherwise prove quite the hassle or a challenge. So that's it for my basic guide for controls in Resident Evil 6. I hope you've enjoyed and found this information useful. If you have, please consider giving a like and consider subscribing for more content. This is Pedantic Gamer. I do hope you've enjoyed this video, and I do hope to see you next time.